Onlu goes over a tenth of a second fast.
Well, hello and welcome back to Formula Trout, everybody. It is round 4 of Season 9 of the Formula Trout Premier Series, and we are here in Baden-Württemberg in Germany for the Griffin Gaming German Grand Prix, the first time that Trout has been to the Hockenheimring since Season 7, and boy, oh boy, are we looking forward to it today. My name is Ross McIntyre. Joining me in the commentary booth and on the cameras is Alex Cochrane. How you doing, Alex?
Hello, glad to be here as always. Exciting race. I've not been here for a few seasons, so yeah, doing well.
Yeah, indeed. Haven't been here since Season 7 when we were using the Formula Hybrid X21, so these things should be a little bit faster. I mean, the lap record still stands from Season 5 when we were using the RSS Formula Hybrid 2018, so that's a long time ago, of course. These cars that we are using, the RaceSim Studios Formula Hybrid Series. This current car, the Formula Hybrid 2021, based off of the 2021 Formula 1 regulations, should be a little bit faster than the 2018 cars, I would like to think. But we're heading out now into qualifying, and we should be seeing our first laps being set. Actually, that's a lie. We have seen our first laps being set, and it's currently Jace Merrick, your winner from last time out at Mugello, on provisional pole. 112.611 is the time to beat at the moment. But Ollie Gibson giving him a run for his money right on his tail. Just over half a tenth, apologies, off of him in P2. And we know that those Lioneers guys of Gibson and Willems, who we can see on screen now, as that was, I think, was that... That is Kilgore Trout round at turn 1. It seems that Kilgore's decided to head out there and have a go this week. But it's, yeah, those two Lioneers guys, very much the team in form, very much the drivers in form at the moment. A 2-3 for them last time out at Mugello basically meant they are now 99 points ahead in the Constructors' Championship already, which is absolutely obscene to be that far ahead at round 4. But, you know, that just goes to show how good Lioneers have been in the Challenger Split this season. And, of course, on the mention of the Challenger Split, it is the normal format for tonight. As it always is here in Formula Trout, we have the Challenger Split up first, the up-and-coming drivers in the Formula Trout world, and the up-and-coming drivers in Assetto Corsa sim racing. And that'll be a 44-lap race, and then following that, we'll have another 44-lap race, but that time, it'll be the Master Split, and that is the best of the best in a Assetto Corsa single-seater racing. And that is the one that everyone's eyes are going to be on. But don't let that take away from the Challenger Split guys, because they are going to put on one hell of a race, I'm absolutely certain. And, well... They always entertain. There is Oliver Gibson rounding the final turn now. Let's go for an onboard lap with the number 45 Jawa, shall we? Into turn 1, hard on the brakes. A little bit of a lift actually there. Not even braking, but round he goes. Now down into turn 2. This is where the old truck goes straight ahead into the woods, but not Ollie Gibson. He's turning right and now onto the Parabolica, this huge left-hander DRS range down here as well. And this is the fastest point on the circuit, all the way up to 8th gear. Banging the revs, foot flat to the floor. Now the hairpin, hard on the brakes, and try and get the car desperately slowed down. Turn it in, don't lose the rear, don't lose the front, don't plow into the driver that's either side of you, in front of you or behind you. Now on the run into the Mercedes. It's not the Mercedes arena, but the corner's called Mercedes anyway. Flick right, then hard on the brakes, very tricky. Don't let the car flick too far out to the right. You want to bring it back into the left as soon as possible for this right-hander. Get a big run through this right-hander. Use the camera of the circuit. Don't touch that sausage cone on the outside. Now the stadium section. Brake, downshift, in. Wow, that is so fast in these modern cars. The Sachs curve. Use the camera of the car. Bring it in. You can run slightly wide if you want. A little bit of wash from Ollie Gibson, but good so far. Final few corners to go. Misses the apex there of the right-hander for some reason, but it allows him to get really far over for the next right. And now rounding the final corner and to the line, it's going to be a 1 minute. Does slightly improve, but it's still not enough. And it's a 6.5 through there, so he's still just off of Jace Merrick in P1 at the moment. But that was an onboard lap of Hockenheim with your championship leader, actually, I believe, in the Challenger Split. And yeah, it is Ollie Gibson currently leading the Challenger Split Championship. by 4 points to the man in front of him, Jace Merrick. Those two, well, Ollie Gibson so far this season has had a 3rd place, a 1st place, and a 2nd place. Jace Merrick's had a 5th, a 2nd, and a 1st. So they are very, very close indeed up the top. And well, Merrick seemingly the driver in form after a very, very impressive display last time out at Mugello, apologies. Of course, Mugello, bit of a different one. We usually head over to Monza for the Italian Grand Prix, and it's usually a lot later in the season as well. But there was a bit of a calendar shake-up this year. Headed over to Mugello and earlier in the season as well. And of course, just for clarification, in case you watched Trout last season and only started watching Trout last season and wondering why aren't we at the Nürburgring, that's because we run a similar system to what Formula 1 ran with the German Grand Prix for a few years now. We alternate the tracks between seasons. So this season we're at the Hockenheimring, last season we're at the Nürburgring GP circuit, or GP-Strecke if you're German. I'm not. And then next year we'll be heading back to the Nürburgring again, presumably. So that's why we're at the Hockenheimring this year, or this season rather. And as I said last time, we're here season 7, but again, those cars, the Formula Hybrid X21s, well, they would be renamed the X22 now, as they were what the guys over at Racing Studios came up with, basing their cars off of the regulations that Formula 1 are going to be implementing next year. Because it's a bit of a futuristic car, and they're obviously not as quick as these Formula Hybrid 2021 cars that we're seeing out on track right now. Looking at around about 1,000 horsepower at the wheels for these things. Big hybrid system, big downforce. These are going to be very, very, very fast. I mean, we have already beaten the Trout lap record in qualifying. A 1:12.751, which was set by David Halligan back in Season 5. Haven't beaten the qualifying lap record yet, but when you consider that the Master Split guys are typically a second or so quicker than the Challenger Split guys, you might get a bit close. And as well, the circuit's still got plenty of time to get warmed up, get going, and get some rubber down on it. Of course, the total lap record was set by Sebastian Vettel back in 2018. He qualified on pole with a 1:11.212 in the German Grand Prix that season. And on board with race winner last time out and current provisional pole sitter Jace Merrick, the young American, looking to continue his red-hot form from Mugello in the Nova Academy car. And, wow, that was very aggressive on the run into the Sachs curve. Just shifts down very, very early on. Of course, you don't have to worry about damaging gearboxes in Assetto Corsa, because A, you can't, well, you can damage them, but it doesn't really matter that much, and B, you don't have to pay for it if it does break, because it's a virtual race, it's not a real one. These things cost about, well, oh, that was a bit sideways through turn 1, don't want to be doing that too often. That could, well, we've seen many a driver in sim and real life get it wrong through there and book themselves a one-way ticket to the outside wall. But yeah, try not to do that. Of course, as I was saying though, these cars cost about £3 to buy from RSS instead of a few million quid to build, like an actual F1 machine. So it's not as much of a problem if you break it. But that being said, these tires still go superbly high out there, and you will still see a few broken up cars. Because the Challenger Split guys especially, they are not afraid to get their elbows out. A lot of the inexperience actually works for these younger drivers, or potentially younger drivers, potentially more inexperienced drivers, because they don't know when to back out, and in a sense that you just see them diving left, right and centre, and it's brilliant racing. Ollie Gibson has now gone on to provisional pole at 1:12.454, the fastest lap time of the session so far. Alex, oh, that's a big spin for Josh Harding, hard into the wall there. Just clipped the sausage curb on the exit of the corner, and it just spat him out on the rear end for Josh Harding. That is a big, big crash, but yeah, we'll be going back to the pits for repairs and a new set of tyres, I'm sure, because they'll be squarer than a box, those things. And, well, that's not ideal, not what you really want to be doing, but keep it going. Obviously, Josh Harding in the thick tax back racing car. That's a DAC, and it's a Griffin's, I think? Correct me if I'm wrong, Alex. It's DAC and Griffin's new junior team, I think.
Yeah, that's correct. It's a place we can both put some of our drivers who are new to the series, want to have a go in Challenger Splits. Yeah, I have a driver and Christoph has a driver in there. Yeah, Harding is doing pretty well so far. She just had the off there, but he's qualified in P4 at the moment, which is good.
Indeed it is. And while we're here, Alex, I mean, obviously you're going to be heading out for you know, Nova Finlandia. No, not Nova Finlandia. Griffin. Oh, I'm still in season 8. Honestly, you'll be heading out for Griffin Gaming later on for your Master Split race. Any tips for the audience? Any tips for these young drivers out there, or more experienced drivers, how to get around the Hockenheimring?
Just be careful, to be honest. Turn 1 here is super lethal. The curbs are very tall, quite rough razor curbs almost, and you just catch it wrong, it can throw you around, as we saw happen to Barding just a bit earlier. Hit the curb wrong and it just flicks you into the inside wall, so you need to be quite careful with that kind of thing. It's a very pleasant circuit to drive. You know, it's well, I mean, some of the drivers are not a fan of it. They prefer the old Hockenheim, which was super fast straight, super long corners. As Williams has a moment there, I don't know if it was his outlap or not. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun circuit to drive, it's fun to race.
Well, I mean, it's so fun that league owner and Oxtan team boss Kilgore Trouts decided to head out for a run. You don't usually see Kilgore out on circuit, but he's out there today, currently running in P13. Of course, he'll be joining me in the commentary box for the Master Split race. You can hear his lovely Welsh tones. And well, I actually met up with Kilgore a few days ago when I was just outside of Cardiff working, and he's quite a tall guy. So in real life, that would not be to his advantage. But luckily in sim, you don't have to worry about that extra weight that comes with being tall. That's not that much of a problem for him. There we see Harding coming back into the session. Even goes back to P4. Minute and a half left to go then in qualifying for the Griffin. Oh, Stephen Hempner round, and that's easily done. It's a very technical circuit, is the Hockenheimring. You know, it's all about the medium speed. It's how little downforce can you get away with to cope down that big front stretch, coming around the Parabolica, and then, you know, coming around and just trying desperately to not scrub off enough speed through those corners. It is all about precision and keeping your speed up. But as we have a minute left to go in the Griffin Gaming German Grand Prix Challenger Split qualifying here at Formula Trout. And, well, Jace Merrick starting his final flying lap now. Currently P2, he was P1 earlier. Let's see if he can snatch that back off of Ollie Gibson. Great turn 1 there. Really strong. Now hard on the brakes. Coming into turn 2, of course, on the old circuit, you'd be blasting straight ahead into the trees. But not anymore since 2002. These guys heading right down here and on to the Parabolica. Now DRS will be wide open. Even though it's a turn, there's so much downforce generated by these cars that you can still have it flat out with DRS open through that big left-hander. Now the hairpin. Hard on the brakes. Don't overshoot it. Don't lock up. Very smooth from the American. Bring it out again. Don't kick out the rear on the X either. Super easy to do with the power that these cars have. Coming into Mercedes now. Hard on the brakes. Trying to get the car too quick on entry, or you'll run out of space on the exit essentially, and you won't be able to get the car back over in time for this right. Heading into Mobile 1 now. Very tricky corner. Down the gear. Turn it in. Pray it sticks. It certainly does for Jace Merrick. The Sachs curve. Use the camber of the corner to fling you around into the final section. This stadium section has been unchanged for a long time, and Jace Merrick looked like he's driven it for many years now, even though this is his debut Trout season. Rounds the final corner now. Checkered flag waving. What's Jace Merrick going to do? Comes to the line. And he does improve. Jace Merrick goes to pole position. And it goes to pole with a 1:12.254. Jace Merrick goes to pole. But where is Ollie Gibson? That's the question we're all asking. Willems is in the pits. He's not doing anything. Ollie Gibson is still out there. Let's have a look at the split time. Always down in the splits, I believe. This could be an in-lap for Ollie Gibson. Yeah, he's massively off the pace in the splits. Look at that. So I think that could be an in-lap for Ollie Gibson. So it will be Jace Merrick on the pole coming in to round 4, unless as we can see any big changes. Linda goes 7th, taking that from Hurst, who just went there, and then cuts turn 1. Don't want to be doing that. Yeah, Gibson comes in, so it will be Jace Merrick on pole from the Lioness boys of Gibson and Wilhelms. Harding will be P4 though with a great result. Bernabé will be P5. Gogben in 6th. But Jace Merrick, that is exactly what he would have wanted, carrying his momentum, carrying his form forward from Mugello. And it's a pole position for the American driver here in virtual Germany. Very nice lap indeed as he heads into the pits. We just wait now for the game to get itself going, of course. Assetto Corsa, it's getting on a little bit now, so sometimes it has its moments when loading up the loading up the race session, but of course you'll be seeing the game having a moment and all the cars spazzing out everywhere, and then they'll be teleported onto the grid. We'll have about a minute's countdown, then they'll be away. No formation lap, of course, in Assetto Corsa, away for 44 laps round the 4.6 kilometers or the 2.8 miles of the Hockenheimring. And, well, of course, it's a very different Hockenheimring from what it once was. Back in the day when it was first constructed in 1932, it was known as the Dreieckskreuz, due to its triangular shape. Then it essentially became a glorified oval through the 60s, all the way to 2002. There was changes here and there. The stadium section got added in. There was chicanes added for safety. And then in 2002, it was decided for safety reasons the track needed to be massively shortened. So Herman Tilke got to work and it redesigned what we have now. It wasn't initially particularly loved by a lot of the drivers. I know Juan Pablo Montoya was a very big critic of it back in the day. But it's kind of found its way into many people's hearts. Obviously, a very, very technical circuit. And it's, well, back in real life, it's provided many a crazy race across recent seasons due to the rain it seemingly attracts in every now and again as well. So it's going to be interesting to see. And as well, it's going to be interesting to see how tyres run here. Hockenheim is not a circuit where tyres are actually that crucial, contrary to what you believe. So it's going to be interesting to see what these drivers can do out there. Jace Merrick currently on pole position.
It's quite interesting to note that Merrick is on different tyres to the to Gibson and this other second row. So
yeah, he is. Everyone is on the C3, the most medium compounder tyre we have here. Merrick's gone one step softer onto those red-walled C4s. So he'll be going a bit faster at the start, theoretically, but a bit shorter in terms of the distance he can go on those tyres. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens when the 6 red lights come on and go out. Hearing the rev of some V6 turbo hybrids there in the background. These guys want to get going. I want to get going. And the lights want to get going. Let's see what happens. Lights out, we're underway here in Hockenheim for the Challenger split. Great start from Merrick. The second phase from Gibson on the outside wasn't too good. Heading into turn 1 now, it's still Merrick that leads. Little bit of contact there in the background, but all looking clean through. And yes, it is all clean through. So Merrick from Gibson, from Willems, your top 3. Merrick looks to the, or Gibson, apologies, looks to the outside of Merrick, but isn't close enough. So your top 3 holding position. Lots of changes around there in the background, but your top 3 streaking away already. Already got a second on Gockman in P4, but it will be Jace Merrick leading for the first time. Oh, Willems having a go on his teammate. Case Willems up the inside of his teammate Oliver Gibson. The Lioness Racing boss goes past the hot shot into P2. He moves. And, well, that is, well, not something that, oh, there's a big kerfuffle in the background as well. You can see lots of cars there just getting very, very close together. There is Gockman in P4, trying desperately to catch up on lost ground from the start on that front 3. Wasn't the start that he would have wanted, but he still managed to hold on to P4 for the time being. Mario Linda in P8 doing a great job. Oh, no, and he's gone round. Mario Linda round and hard into the wall. No, that's Shawan. Apologies. Shawan goes round. I thought it was Mario Linda. Apologies there. As Wasim Shawan going around with a big, big incident there on the way into the Mobile 1 curve. And, well, he's going to have to be coming into the pits, I'm sure. Josh Harding's lost out big time on the first lap as well. Down to P7. He goes. He's going to have a look maybe on Imran Sheikh. No, he isn't for the time being. But Sheikh runs a little wide out of turn 2, so he might have the momentum. Harding use the overtake. No DRS just yet. But he will have that momentum and a big slipstream heading through Parabolica. And actually, Mario Linda having a look at this. And, oh, no, there's contact! Oh, and he's outbraked himself as Harding. So Linda squeezes through. Sheikh holds onto P6, but Harding just outbraked himself into the hairpin. Very easily done here in Hockenheim. It is so, so difficult to judge your braking points. There is Hepner and Arthur trying to swap places. Robbie Arthur versus Stephen Hepner. Arthur on the outside, Hepner on the inside. And Hepner goes through with a big wobble from Arthur on the exit as well, trying to get the power down. And the rear's just not gripping. Gibson is trying to get past Willems. Now his teammate Merrick's already pulled 2 seconds on that softer tyre. The Lioneers boys looking like they might be having a bit of a fight, which is not what they want. And Ollie Gibson's currently leading this championship. Well, he was heading into this race anyway. They're leading the constructors by a long way. They want to just capitalize on the points all they can get. A 1:14.741. Jace Merrick puts down the bastion of the fastest lap of the race on lap 2. That, of course, as the race wears on, it's going to get faster and faster and faster. Good 2 seconds off of the lap record as well here. Oh, no, that's Robbie Arthur. And that is as well alongside him. I believe that was Hepner going off with him potentially. Yes, it was. Arthur and Hepner come together. There's Peters off into the wall as well. Leslie Peters, one of the new drivers that we've got here this weekend. One of a South African pairing across in the new team, Kings Art. Yeah, number 14 going off the road there, coming out of turn 3, I believe that was. Gibson has now got past Case Willems. So it's back to where we were at the start of the race. Heading into the stadium section. Looking pretty empty, of course, clearly in the virtual Germany COVID restrictions still quite bad. Of course, we'd love to have a full capacity crowd. Well, I'm sure there is a full capacity crowd watching at home along on the stream. And if you are watching on the stream, do, as always, make sure you hit like, subscribe, follow, whatever you're watching on. It really does help out everybody here at Formula Trout. A lot of effort goes into organising this league, organising the races, broadcasting these races, and we really cannot show our appreciation enough for your viewing. That is Gockman having to defend from Bernabate, as Bernabate looks... And he's now got the Stoops team, and now who have the DRS as well. Pulls to the inside of the Parabolica. This is going to be a very, very easy overtake up the inside. DRS button, the overtake button will be pinned to the steering wheel. And Andrew Bernabé goes into P4. Great move there. And that is very, very nice indeed. And still, looks like Robbie Arthur's running into more trouble because he's gone tumbling down the order again, I believe. Andreas Leondu, there is Robbie Arthur. And, well, Kilgore Trout just behind him. So, Kilgore not having the best time out there in the world. There is Kilgore Trout, league boss, on board with him now. Can't say anything too harsh or I'll get fired, but, you know. And that's Woodward. And that's Leonid as well, going side by side. Leonidu, which I'm mispronouncing, I do apologise. Of course, if I mispronounce something, do not be afraid to let me know. Or if you've got anything you don't want to tell me, you want me to pick up on at some point, do please let me know. I'm always happy to help out. And Carlos Skamanis apparently leaving. I read that out because I thought it was a driver DNFing. No, it isn't. That's just the league, or the series organizer, rather, leaving the session. For some reason. There we go, Carlos. There goes Josh Harding as well. Up the inside of Imran Sheikh. Nobody forces Sheikh wide. And he might get better traction down as well. And he'll also have the DRS and a big slipstream into Parabolica. Sheikh pulls to the outside, tries to get the momentum, tries to break the toe. Harding to the inside. Oh, it's just easy, isn't it? Up into P7 goes Harding. Gockman and Bernabé, I think, briefly swap places there as well up front. Who's that running very slowly on the outside? That maybe Peters that I just saw. Yes, it is. That's Leslie Peters running very, very slowly, just getting out the way of the cars, lapping them. And there is your race leader. 3 seconds now is the gap to Ollie Gibson behind for Jace Merrick. On lap 5 of 44. Still a long way left to go in this race. But surely he can start to breathe and just be a bit more comfortable. James K on board in P12. The other half of the all South African entry into this race. Oh, that's a big accident in the background. That's Herter. Cesar Herter with a big off. And we've seen that once today already. Just coming out of turn 10. Getting it wrong on the exit. And going around. And those tyres are going to be like baked potatoes. Kilgore Trout might be getting a position here. If the driver in front dives into the pits. And I would assume he does. Yes, he does. So Kilgore Trout up to P15 there. As he goes on to lap 6. Oh, there's Wasim Shawan. Having a bit of a ding with Robbie Arthur there in the background. K in between them as well. Arthur watching on dangerously. Oh, lapping some traffic there. Trying to wheedle their way through. Just cannot make the gap. Oh, that's a big dive from K on Shawan. And he's not making that corner ever. Way too late on the brakes. That is part of the challenge. Oh, no. Gives it a big bootful on the exit of the hairpin. And around he goes. Merrick with another fastest lap of 1:14.623. Oh dear, oh dear. Big shame there. The hairpin is a very, very tricky corner. It's 180 degrees. Supremely tight. Very tricky on entry because it's such a high-speed entry. You've got to get your braking bang on or you will just not make the corner. You can't afford a lock-up. You can't afford to be battling with someone into the braking zone. And then on the exit as well, because you've got to slow it right down. Very tricky to get the power back on as well. You're going to get a lot of wheel spin on the exit. That's what we just saw there. So there is Robbie Arthur that we're now following. Trying to chase Shawan, but just cannot make the gap appear for the time being. I'm sure we'll be seeing a spot in a moment's time. On board with Shawan looking back. And, well, there goes Arthur to the inside. That'll be an overtake, I'm sure. Oh, no! Rockstar is! Oh, no! Robbie Arthur locks the rears and goes round at the hairpin. Unbelievable. And oh, that's a big wobble from Kay there in the background as well. And I know that drivers have been struggling with the rear end of this car this season. I know that a lot of the drivers prefer the 2020 car. But it's, well, very early into this race. We've been seeing a fair few incidents already. And Abraham Shake just adds to my point. Round he goes as well in the exit of the final corner. Turn 1, very tricky. Surprised we kept it clean through there. James Kay goes around again after the Mobile 1 curve. Anybody else want to spin? No? I think we're good. I think we're good. Alex, are we going to be seeing you spinning later on, potentially?
Hopefully not. It's a very, very tricky circuit, though, because you, as you said, there's less rear downforce for this car, and you really need the turn in at this track. You overcook it slightly, especially here through turn 10. A bit too much throttle, and it'll just throw you around. Get on the exit curb, and it'll throw you around again. So you need to be super, super careful throughout the race.
Oh, that's fair enough. Well, of course, hopefully we're... Well, I'll root for you because you're... I'll root for you in an unprofessional sense. In a professional manner, I have no opinions whatsoever. I'm definitely not a biased commentator. If you've been watching Formula Trout for more than 2 seconds, you will know that I definitely have no affiliation with Bag Motorsport whatsoever. But anyway, enough about me having a love affair with the Brazilian team. And back to the action that we're seeing on track currently. On board with Imran Sheikh after that spin. No longer on board with Imran Sheikh. There is Josh Harding to the inside of Mario Linda. And getting up the inside of Mario Linda, he's got to go the long way round. But he'll get the DRS around the Parabolica as well. Great stuff there. And, well, he's going to have to try and use his overtake desperately. Wheel to wheel. Coming through the Parabolica. The big left-hander who gets on the brakes later. Harding has the inside line. Harding maybe gets the move done. Harding does get the move done. Fantastic stuff there. Up to P6 he goes. But that was awesome blasting we saw between the pair of them. And Josh Harding, after falling back on the initial lap, moved further up. And, well, I'm sure that Mario Linda will be wanting to get back past as quickly as possible. He is on softer tyres as well. There is James Kay coming into the pits after his few spins. And there is Mario Linda. And now he's got another car to stare into the gearbox of on his way round the wonderful German countryside here in Baden-Württemberg. Okay, maybe not countryside, but it's not exactly a city either. It's Hockenheim. Clips the sausage curb in turn 1. Try not to do that. In real life, your suspension would be in a billion pieces by now. And you'd probably be in an air ambulance. And there is Josh Harding to the inside of Ankle Bernabé. Can't quite make it stick. And that has to lose a lot of his momentum to keep on the track. And there goes Mario Linda. In the Griffin Gaming German Grand Prix, the Griffin Gaming driver moves back up to P6. And goes to P5 potentially. No! Overshoots the corner. These three, oh, bit of a squiggle from all of them as well. These three are locked in a battle. Looking back with Bernabé. Oh, big wobble from Harding. But Harding holds on. Linda drops back to 7th once again. My goodness me. Make your mind up, guys, please, on what you're going to do. And that's still with them into the Mobile 1 curve. And the empty stadium here at the Sachs curve. Oh, Harding gets it wrong. Tap to Linda as well. Manages to keep it going with a half spin, but there was contact with Linda. Wondering if then potentially damage. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Linda seems okay. Oh, sorry, Alex.
It seems that Harding definitely have the pace, because he caught up to Linda almost a second the previous lap, but then as soon as he tried to make the move on Bernabé, he just got overtaken again by Linda due to the DRS, and then it just threw him off a little bit. You know, you can't really use that extra pace when you're following through the twisty stuff, so yeah, a bit of a disaster. So far it looks like Hepner's made a bit of a mistake at the last corner.
Yeah, there we see Stephen Hepner going slowly. Obviously maybe having a bit of a spin coming through the Sud curve, which quite literally stands for South Curve, if you want to know. And, well, that'll be that then, I suppose, for Stephen Hepner, and he'll keep going, I'm sure. There is Bernabé. Now he's got the pressure from one car removed, but Mario Linda still there. Still hot on his tail, just trying to keep pace with him. But Bernabé looking very strong right now, I think is the words to choose. He's been pretty strong so far. But the 66 of Mario Linda, the Estonian driver, doing a very solid job out there at the moment in P6. As they're just continuing to head round, continuing to do their thing. And, well, Linda well, he's following, I suppose. But he's in the slipstream now. And now goes to the outside, / the inside, on the brakes. And, well, Mario Linda up the inside. That's a very, very nice move. And up to P5 he moves. Merrick still leads by 6 seconds here on lap 12. Gibson in P2. Case Willems has dropped back 5 seconds to P3. On board with your leader now in the Nova Finlandia Academy car. Lapping some traffic there. Surely the pit window's going to start to come up anytime soon. Well, Bernabé now in P7. He's been done by Harding, I think. So I think Bernabé's gone round somewhere potentially. Because he's been done by Harding. So, and he's coming in now, actually, yeah. So there goes Bernabé into the pits. See what tyres he goes on to. Pulls into the virtual pit box. He'll have the virtual pick. He has to back up. Oh, he's got to back up even further. He's completely missed the pit box. That's going to cost him a lot of time. Oh, no. Disaster for Bernabé in the pits. Leonardo will be catching him, surely. He's actually got round him, I think. There is Bernabé. And, well, big shame for him as they head back out again. Lap 14 of 44 here in the Challenger Split for the Formula Trout Premier Series. Round 4 of 12 in the championship. Already round 4 of 12. How? How are we on round 4? I don't know. Don't ask me why either. It's already flown by. And it's, well, here for the Griffin Gaming German Grand Prix. Of course, if you're watching along at home, don't be afraid to like, subscribe, share, blah, 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 and all of that helps everyone out. You know the drill. Linda onto the C3 tyres. And begins to head back out again now. And there he goes. Pretty easy for Linda there. And meanwhile, there is Merrick, your race leader, out the front. He's doing his thing. Not really pushing too hard, just hitting his marks, going through the corners. Been a very, very strong drive so far. Just over 7 seconds now is the gap back to Ollie Gibson. As it stands, if they finished as they did, Merrick would take the championship lead by 1 point as he dives in from the lead of the race. Of course, here in Formula Trout, we use your standard FIA point system, 25 for the winner, 20 for second place, so on and so forth, down to 1 for 10th. But it's, yeah, be interesting to see where they finish, because Merrick could be taking the championship lead, potentially after this race. And also, crucially, he'd become the first double winner this season in Formula Trout Premier Series Challenger Split. It's been a different winner each race so far. That's that hope and dream's already been crushed up in the Master Split, but still going strong in the Challenger. So Merrick out in P4 behind Gockman. Onto the C2 tyres as well, crucially. So he's got a long way to go. He's clearly trying to go for a one stop. Doesn't feel too stressed about pace. Tyre management clearly his main concern. He's just pushing around now, hitting his marks on fresher but harder tyres. Doing what he does best, you know. And there you can see a bit of a battle going on. Linda versus Leonardo. No, Linda versus Woodward, apologies. For P6. And, well, Linda, we know, got a lot of pace on board that 66 machine at the moment. Oh, that being said, runs very wide out of turn 10 on the run into Mobile 1. That's not something you want to be doing every lap. That sausage cone in real life would have you for breakfast. Not so bad in sim, but... Of course, sim, that's... Oh, no, that's the lead around! Jace Merrick round in turn 1! Jace Merrick, your net race leader, has had a spin down at turn 1. Harding's got past. What does Gibson do? Does Gibson react? Where's Gibson? There is Gibson. He's got half a lap to go. He could react now. He could be taking the race lead. What does Oliver Gibson do? Oh, Gockman goes round as well. Grip clearly a problem for the drivers out there tonight. There's Woodward and Linda going side by side into the hairpin. Oh, both hit the brakes too late. Bit of a wobble for Woodward as well. There is Peters on the outside. Bernabé's in the pit lane. Where is Gibson? What's he doing? Is the question on my mind. Jace Merrick and Gibson does come into Gibson. Gibson's seen the opportunity and he's come in. This is crucial. Whoever comes out in front will lead this race. Oh, Willem's in as well. So line is double stacking. And Gibson, where's Merrick? Merrick is going to be in P2 because Gibson's gotten out in front. So Oliver Gibson has the net lead of this race. Unbelievable. Jace Merrick has now got it all to do on more worn tyres as well. Oliver Gibson, this has fallen right into his hands. Unbelievable. Jace Merrick. Oh, you can't help but feel bad for the young American, but at the same time, Oliver Gibson, what a stroke of luck. He has been smiled upon and been thrown a bone, and he is taking it with much gratitude because he goes to the net lead of this race. Harding in P1 still needs to pit, and Harding is right there anyway. I'm sure that Ollie will be making very quick work of him. But it will be Gibson from Merrick, from Willems, your top three. Well, Harding pointlessly defending. Gibson will be wanting to clear Harding in as much time as he possibly, or at least little time as possibly can, apologies. Obviously, doesn't want to get stuck behind him. Also doesn't want to stay in the dirty air and ruin his tyres, etc., etc. But it will be Oliver Gibson leading this race. And Alex, that just shows just how easy it is to throw something away, to throw a race lead away. All it takes is one little spin and suddenly you're down to P2.
Yeah, did comment the curbs on the outside of turn 1 very, very deadly, especially when you've just come out pits. Sorry, when you're on one tyre, I should say. No, he did come out the pits, didn't he? Ooh.
Yeah, he did.
Harding just spun there as the hairpin almost collecting.
Yeah, Gibson, that was a... was that a shove? Oh, no, someone else round. Is that Gockman? No, I believe it's Peters actually. No, it was Joe. It was Harding and someone else I saw go round in the background. Not sure who. Unfortunately, just to reiterate, if you haven't noticed already, we have unfortunately lost Kilgore Trout. He's obviously had enough, changed his mind, decided that running the league is better than driving in it for him. Also lost Imran Sheikh and Angle Bernabei. There goes Willems, lapping some cars. No, that's Willems going past Gockman, actually, apologies. As they head through. But it's Ollie Gibson now the fastest lap, 1:14.567 I saw there. And there he is. Your championship leader at the moment. Leading the way by 4 points from Merrick on 58. Merrick has had a fastest lap, took fastest lap last time out of Mugello. Gibson wanting to respond with a win. And the fastest lap here at the Hockenheimring. As, well, the 45 driver just desperately tries to extend his lead, of course. In the Constructors, Lioneers, hot favourites, and are doing what they're expected to do. And are just running away out the front at the moment. A 99-point gap out the front already. And there is Josh Harding in the pits. Hepner alongside him as well. But Gibson leading the way. 6 seconds almost is the gap. So he has extended to Merrick behind. Willems will be wanting to close that because they'd love a Lioneers 1-2. They did take a 1-2. I believe. No, they haven't actually. They've taken 2 3-2s. They haven't actually had a 1-2 yet this season. Case Willems yet to score a win. He's been 2nd, 4th, and 3rd. So maybe Case Willems, it's his time to shine. Of course, he won the Italian Grand Prix last season back at Monza. In the very emphatic win after a crazy race at the Templar Speed. Couldn't win this time at the Italian Grand Prix at Mugello. This time it went to Jace Merrick, but Willems, I'm sure, will be looking to add another win to his tally in Trout soon enough. Of course, none of these guys are actually on the win list for the top 10 most winningest drivers, I think is the official term, in Trout history. We only really include Master Split wins, and well, the by far dominant force in that is Maxi Junger with 21 to his name, the 4-time champion, 2 Premier Series titles, a Sprint Series title, which is the other series we run, and as well a Codemasters title when we used to run back on Cody's F1 games way back in the day. He's had 21 wins to his name. Oh, someone going a bit sideways there. Was that Cesar Herter, I think, maybe? Not too sure. Yeah, Maxi Junger getting very sideways. Andreas Schilder's 2nd. He was champion last season. He got 13. I think something like 8 of them came last season, which was incredible because he was just dominant. Clank Hughes has 11. He's also Premier Series champion. Paul Magzai has 8 to his name. He's no, Andreas Schilder wasn't champion last season. Apology, he was champion the season prior. Max Hammerlink was champion last season. He's got 8 to his name and won 6 of them last season. Paul Magzar has 8, and he's a 2-time champion. He's the only back-to-back champion we've had in Trout history, bear in mind as well. Then you've got Ermus Rees, Jaap Wagenvoort, 5-4. Oscar Williams has 4. Tommy Ilitalo's got 3. We'll be seeing him later on. Jack Smith's got 2 as well. So it's winning multiple times in Trout is difficult. Muradi does now have 2. Let's see if Muradi can jump up there, because I'm just going to actually make that note, because Muradi does have 2 now, because he won a race last season. He won the Hungarian Grand Prix last season. Oh no, Muradi's won 3 actually, so Muradi's jumped Jack Smith, so goodbye Jack Smith. Hello Mustafa Muradi onto the list. I've just noticed that actually. I've got my little Trout notebook here, which has got the actually got Formula Trout sticker on the front that Alex sent me. Thanks for that, Alex. And I've got like a list. I've got a general what is Trout at the front, blah blah blah. I can read that out for you if you really want. And then as well, I've got like the most wins on that list. And I've just realised that Muradi actually has more wins than Jack Smith. So apologies there to Jack Smith. You've been bumped off the list. Mustafa Muradi's the new number 10 in town. In football, that'd be a good thing. Obviously, in racing, you ought to be number 1. But I don't want to talk about football right now because it's been a bad day for me in that regard. So there is Case Willems in P3. The team boss over at Lioneers, the Dutch driver. He's put in some very, very solid performances recently. He's been very consistent this year. There was clearly improvement last season, of course. Lioneers were P3 last season. Case said the team goal coming into this season was to be winning and getting that promotion into the Master Split. Of course, if you get Constructors Championship in the Challenger Split, you gain promotion to the Master Split with your team. He said his goal for the team was to be winning the title. There were hot favourites coming in with Gibson and Willems in the lineup, and they're doing that just now at the moment, dominating in the Constructors so far. But still without a win to his name yet this season, unfortunately. Case is a very, very strong driver, very smooth, very good on the tyres as well. It'd be nice to see him getting maybe a bit further up the front. Just have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's quite telling. Like, obviously, Eric seems to have the measure over Gibson and Thurston on his ball tyres, but now they're both on the slowly increased that gap. 5, maybe 4 seconds when they came out the pits, and now Gibson's almost 7 seconds front. So really pulling away now.
Indeed, he is. Gibson now has the pendulum swung in this way as we're now just over halfway in this race. Pendulum has swung to the Lioneers team. Yeah, team from the Netherlands. The British driver currently leading the way here. And there's the screen if you really want to see it that we always try and avoid. But thanks for bringing that up anyway, Alex. Of course, here at Hockenheim, round 4, the Griffin Gaming German Grand Prix of the season 9 of the Formula Trout Premier Series. And well, we've had Melbourne, Bahrain, and Mugello so far. 2 weeks' time, we're going to Baku, going to Azerbaijan. That'll be it's the first time I believe that Trout's been there, so that'll be interesting. And of course, we've got the classic Trout round at Silverstone. That was always an absolutely brilliant race. And I'm sure it's going to be fun to watch. And we've got a to be confirmed round after that for round 7. So we've got a bit of a break, mid-season break, and then a to be confirmed round. Then Spa, Barcelona. Well, Spa is on the well. Then we've got a big break after Spa. We've got a month's break after Spa for Christmas and New Year, letting everyone have the weekend off for Christmas and that, which is fair enough. I don't think you get a lot of people turning up anyway, and the ones that would turn up would be violently hungover and or drunk. But looking past that anyway. And we've got Spa, Barcelona, heading to Kyalami now as well, looking into 2022. Suzuka, and then once again rounding out the season at Interlagos. And well, you've got plenty of action to look forward to in this season of Formula Trout. Of course, running these RSS Formula Hybrid 2021 cars as well from the wonderful wizards over at Racing Studios. Roughly 990 brake horsepower with 675 Newton meters of torque. Only weighing in at 752 kilos. They can easily hit 340 kilometers an hour. Probably go a lot faster if you pushed them and had a long enough straight. These things are the fastest cars you can get your hands on in sim racing. That is not a silly car that has a billion horsepower. The fastest realistic car you can get in sim racing, I'll say that much. Of course, just an evolution from the 2020 car as well, much akin to the 2021 Formula 1 regulations in what the car is based off of. It's basically a 2021 car, a 2020 car with the floor changed a bit. So that's basically all that's happened to this car. But it's got a significant lack of rear downforce compared to last season, so that's why we're seeing so many spins this season and indeed in this race as well. Because drivers are just struggling to keep the rear of the car planted. They just cannot figure out how to drive it to the pace that they need to be competitive without losing the rear, which is, tough to do. Trout, these guys, well, not these guys per se, the Challenger Split guys are the up-and-comers, but later in the Master Split especially, they are the best of the best in Assetto Corsa single-seater racing. Trout is the premier Assetto Corsa single-seater league. Running our 2 series, of course, we've got the Premier Series, we've got the Sprint Series as well. We're doing an IndyCar-style series in that at the moment. But it's, the Premier Series especially, it is the most prestigious Formula 1-style league in Assetto Corsa racing. It is where the best of the best come and hang out and play. And it's, great to see these guys out there giving it a go, even if they're not fans of the car. We've got a very, very big grid to look forward to here as well today. Later on in the Master Split, I had a look through. it's very big. You can see actually if you look through. If you come and join our Discord, if you head down to the link in the description below, you can join our Discord and find out how to get involved if you want to, or just to come and hang out. But on there you can see the grids for the race prior. You can see who's registering for the race. It is massive. We've got a lot of teams turning up here. But anyway, moving on nonetheless. Going to be interesting to see what happens. And, well, that's interesting. And, well, Oliver Gibson continuing around out the front. Doing his thing. 10 seconds now is the gap. And it's great to see how far Gibson's been progressing this season. He's, is it Jack Smith's brother? Is it? I think, correct me if I'm... Yeah, thank you, Alex. Correct me if I'm wrong. Jack Smith's brother, and Jack is a very, very quick driver. Off doing more real-world racing things than not nowadays. But yeah, he's Jack Smith's brother, and he's obviously inherited some of those, some of that speedy genes, or been passed on to him anyway, by his brother, tips and tricks and whatnot. He's currently searching for his second win this season in the Formula Trout Premier Series Challenger Split to make it 2 out of 4 and extend his lead over Jace Merrick in the championship. Of course, Merrick would be in that scenario, but after that spin earlier on, and that just shows just how precise you got to be, not just around here, but you've got to be absolutely on it at all times. It is crazy how competitive these guys are. Just crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely a very, very packed room we've got there. Unfortunately, the gaps between all the cars have extended quite a lot. The closest cars on track being Merrick and Dillon with 3 seconds apart. So there's not too much racing going on. But as we saw near the start of the race, one mistake and spin you around. It happened to Gibson, it can happen to Merrick. So maybe commentator's curse. Hopefully not in effect, but I did manage that at Magello, unfortunately, to Carter Jackson, who is not here this weekend, actually, which is quite surprising.
Yeah, it's a shame to not see Carter Jackson. Another one of the strong American drivers that we're seemingly having more and more of coming through the field. Carter Jackson, who's we have seen this year. We see him take P5 last time out. He was P13 in Bahrain. Also made a couple of appearances last season, earlier this year. We do try and run 2 seasons in a calendar year here in Formula Trout. But it's yeah, it's hard to keep track of sometimes. But it's you have seen him last season / earlier this year. Merrick, I think I just saw had the fastest lap of the race there. I didn't quite catch it. And he'll carry on round anyway. On board with him now into turn 2. Finding his way around the track. Of course, as I mentioned previously, turn 2 was used to go straight on down there and into the trees, as I'm sure you're all well aware. The old Hockenheim circuit, which is much beloved even nowadays, and you can still drive it in sim now as well. Because of the beauty of sim racing, you can still drive tracks that aren't there, because in real life it's been covered by trees now. We used to, big flat out loop into the trees. There was a few chicanes here and there. They got added on over the years. You had the Clark chicane, the center chicane, the Ost chicane as well, down the bottom of the track, which was mainly there just for safety precaution. Of course, after Jim Clark unfortunately lost his life there in a Formula 2 race in 1968. It was a big safety consideration. And then again in 2002, it was decided by the F1 aficionados that the track was not needed. It needed to be shortened. And now we have what we do now. Very different circuit to what it once was. It was literally an oval, a right turn oval without the back corners. It was how fast can you go down the straight, and then pray you make the corners with the downforce, what little downforce you've got on. And then, well, nowadays it is all about the medium and the slow speeds. It is all about desperately trying to just keep the speed up. And I am actually mistaken. The os curve is still there. So there is, the tarmac isn't there, but the shape of the track is still there. So if you can, I know you can wander through the woods on the what was the old circuit. There's a Jim Clark Memorial out there somewhere. There's actually a I believe there's like a little, not a grave per se, but it's like a little cross in the ground for where he actually died. You can go and have a look at that. A lot of people do across the week, and then you can head down to the os curve, and it's basically just a grass bank now, but it is still there. There's Leonardo into the pits from P6. Mario Linda, I'm sure, always had to back it up actually. So Mario Linda might be getting there. There's Case Willems in P3, trying to desperately get past, or trying to desperately catch up rather to the guys in front. Just doing what they can out the front at the moment. Case doing what he can out at the moment. Just not quite on the pace of Gibson or Merrick out the front. But unable to really make any moves either. He's just too far back. Everyone out there is in a bit of no man's land at the moment, to be brutally honest. There is Gibson in the lead. They're all just out there doing what they're doing, I guess. Each in their own little bubble, each in their own little space. But just unable to make anything work. Meanwhile, as they're heading through, coming into the latter phase of the race now, of what's seemingly a one-stop race as well. They're getting around. And as we're just heading around now, I'm just gonna let you know that unfortunately we're just having a debate's going on at the moment whether the Masters Split race is going to run. I'm just going to pre-warn you now. There is just some stuff going on in regards to the track and the amount of entries that we have. I will keep you posted on what's going on. But as of now, there is currently conversations or discussions whether there's going to be a race going on, if it will be non-points, if it does go on. So we'll just, I'll let you know what the situation is. And well, I can see there, that's in the YouTube chat, we've had or the Twitch chat, apologies, had a few people there. Oscar Williams, for one, watching along, seeing Ollie Gibson go around, and he's just saying that Ollie is on autopilot right now. He said, I know his setup's pointy, so I better take care on worn tyres. I'm sure he'll be doing absolutely fine. And yeah, autopilot, I think is the correct term. He's been very, very solid out there all race long and just hasn't really put a foot wrong. Ball with him now, as there's a heading round the Parabolica and into the hairpin. Spins the wheels up a little bit on the exit of the hairpin as well. And all for a good measure. Just a bit of show. Maybe you know this is on camera, of course. He's been phenomenal so far today. Out there. And just doing his thing, going around. Putting some laps in, you know, just doing his thing. You know, there's not really much else to say about what Ollie Gibson's doing at the moment. Coming into the final section now. At the Sud curve, I believe. Unless I'm mistaken, it is the Sud curve. My German does not fail me, once again. Hallo, ich heiße Ross. You know, all that stuff. Well, Gibson just heads around once again here in virtual Germany. Doing what he does best. Going around, hitting his marks. And, well, it's been a pretty easy running so far. He's been gifted this lead by Jace Merrick spinning. As they're going around. course, obviously a big shout out to our sponsors for this race, Griffin Gaming. Of course, they running multiple teams in Trout. It is their home event here, which is why they're sponsoring it for the Griffin Gaming German Grand Prix Round 4 of the Formula Trout Premier Series, Season 9 of the Premier Series. 8 realistically, because the first one was on Codemasters F1 game. I think it was F1 2016, I think. But we still clued it anyway. So, yeah. Just cope, I guess. Not seeing anyone get close to the lap record yet. Of course, set by David Halligan back in Season 5, a 112.751. I think we're seeing low 14s, but nothing getting into the 12s yet from these guys. The real lap record, of course, is a 113.780 set by Kimi Räikkönen all the way back in 2004. So that lap record stood for a long old time. And then the total lap record round here, a 111.212, is Sebastian Vettel in 2018 in a race I don't like to talk about. But he took pole position with a stunning lap that time. As I remember correctly, Lewis Hamilton only qualified 15th after a hydraulics failure. And there is your P2 man and pole sitter, Jace Merrick. Heading through virtual Baden-Württemberg in southwest Germany. Lots of racetracks in the southwest of Germany, it would seem. It's where the Nürburgring is. It's where Hockenheim is. I might just punch into Google. Racetracks, if you do excuse me, I know it's very unprofessional, but it's just suddenly popped into my mind. Racetracks in southwest Germany. Now let's just come up with racetracks in England. Tracks in Germany, it's come up with Avis. Right, you know what? I'm just going to search racetracks in Germany. That'll do. Surely. Racetracks in Germany. Let's see what it has on store for us. So obviously you got the Nürburgring, which is obviously in the southwest, in the Rhineland. Just got the Nürburgring there. Moving further south, you've got Hockenheimring in the south. You got the Norris Ring's in the southeast. To be fair, I didn't know that. Nürburgring is in the southeast. Brokart Raceland is southeast, wherever that is. There's some other ones as well. Osserschleben, central Germany. There you go. Europe Raceway. Not sure what Europe Raceway is. Oh, well, you got the Temple for Streets at Europe Raceway in Berlin. Never heard of that one. Oh, it's like a little model racing track. It's like a giant scale electrics. Oh, that's cool. Lausitz Rings in the east. Okay, so it wasn't as bad as I thought, actually. Where is what's the one that MotoGP goes to? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what that one is. Hayes Films in P3 for the time being, heading into the latter phases of this race. Still going around doing this thing. And the Lioneers will be extending their gap in the points. There is Mario Linda after the incident earlier. The 66 Estonian. That's 66 number, not his age. Before he gets offended. We have lost some more drivers in the meantime. We have lost Harding and Leonardo, unfortunately. Down to 12 runners. Shawan back into the pit lane. And heads back out on a pair of the soft tyres. Maybe trying to go for fastest lap there. Not the soft tyres, C2 tyres, even apologies. Of course, here in Formula Trout and with the RSS cars, you get 5 tyres to choose from, but you only ever really see 3. You see the C2s, the C3s, and the C4s. The C2s being the softest of those, and the C4s being the softest of those, apologies, which is what Shawan is on at the moment, the red wall tyres. And then the C2s being the hardest, the white wall tyres. And then the C3s are the medium yellow wall tyres. We do also have C1 and C5s, but the C5s can barely go a lap without eating themselves, and the C1s are just not considered to be a great race tire. You do see them occasionally. You might see them somewhere like Silverstone, where tyre wear really does come into play. But I can assure you won't be seeing them here, where tyre wear really isn't a factor. There is P2, Jace Merrick, 11 seconds back now from Ollie Gibson in P1. And not long left to go either, if he wants to catch up. I don't think the pace is quite there, unfortunately. They're heading around now. Doing their thing. It's alright. As we head round, this is on board with Case Willems in P3. Gockman in P4 is a long way back, 24 seconds from Willems. So field very spread out at the moment. There is Leslie Peters, the last of our runners today. He is on the C1s, actually. Fair play. You know what? Fair play to Leslie Peters trying to make those C1s work. They are not a pleasant race tyre to be on. But he's running them anyway. Fair play. Not something I was expecting to see here at Hockenheim, but we're seeing it nonetheless. Mario Linda on the soft tyres again, so he could be going for fastest lap as well. 4 laps left to go here at the Hockenheimring in Baden-Württemberg, or virtual Baden-Württemberg anyway. Ollie Gibson, 11.5 seconds, is the lead of the Lioneers driver. The young Brit who took the Trout World by storm early this season. He's come in after a bit of a steep learning curve last year, and now he is ready, and now he's showing his worth out there, proving that he is ready and raring to go for the challenge that Trout offers him. Because right now he is doing a fantastic job in the Formula Trout Premier Series Challenger Split. Ollie Gibson just out the front, being phenomenal. Not long left to go now here in the race. Unfortunately, I still do not have an update on what's going on with the Master Split race later on. So I can just see there's a big debate going on in the drivers briefing channel, and in the one of the main chats as well on the Discord, which you can join if you haven't already. By the way, go to the link down below, click it, blah 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 blah, join along, come have fun. We don't bite, we're nice guys. There is still lots of ideas being thrown around. No one's really sure what's going on. They're now discussing the F1 sprint format for some reason, and I have no idea why. Fingers crossed we'll have a race, but unfortunately you can't account for these things. I'm sure if we are unable to have a race, we'll try and fit another one in somewhere. Just chuck another Hockenheim round in, exclusively for the Master Split. Willems now coming on to what will be his 42nd lap of the race. If my maths serves me correctly, Lioneers will be gaining 43 points in this event if they finish as they do, which is not a bad haul of points for the guys. Already 99 points clear in the championship. Oh, Peters going around on the way into the Sudkurve, not Kurda. Oh, it's been a long day. I was playing netball this morning for some reason, and I didn't eat breakfast, and now I'm screwing about pretend racing cars. My brain stopped working, so please do excuse me. I know I wasn't there at Mugello as well. I know I really should be making up for it, but it's, well, I'm doing my best. And there is Ali Gottman into the pits one final time. He's decided to give fastest lap a go, clearly. He comes back out, presumably on the softer tyres. Gottman. Back out he goes. Let's see if he's able to get the fastest lap of the race. Oliver Gibson, though, starts the penultimate lap of the 4th round of the championship. And that is Adam Woodward off the road. Coming into the final section. Again, lots of drivers have been struggling with this car this season. Hepner, squeezing Linda on the outside. Just trying to defend the position. That's Linda going round. Was there contact? I did not see. But Linda goes round. Oh, unlucky there. And that was very unfortunate. Hopefully his tyres aren't in too bad of a condition. They're continuing to go around. Oliver Gibson will be starting the final lap of the race. And he did get given the race lead on a plate after Jace Merrick span. But timed the pit stop perfectly and has just been superb since then. The Lioness squad, I'm sure, will be appreciating what will we touch with a win. And the Oxygen E program as well. It's Oxygen, I think. The Young Driver Development Program run by Lee Gunner Kilgore Trout. Lioneers are one of the members of that. And Oliver Gibson, we are doing them proud. Around the Parabolica and into the hairpin one final time. A little bit of traffic ahead of the young Brit for him to negotiate, but nothing too major. And as he comes around now, this has been a very, very, I won't say easy race, but it's not been stressful. I'll say that much. He is driven superbly. Just hit the marks as he needed to do. And as he heads into the stadium section for a final time, it's going to be Oliver Gibson rounding the Zax curver, rounding into the Sud curver. The young Brit, who leading the championship, will extend his lead, taking his 2nd win in the Challenger Split. It's Oliver Gibson who wins here in Germany at the Hockenheimring with a fantastic performance. Checkered flag drops for Ollie. It will be Jace Merritt coming home. A disappointing P2, I'm sure. He knows he could have won that race. A small mistake took it away from him. But it will have his head held higher and will be looking to come back fighting. Case Wilhelms will complete the podium for a Lioneers 1-3. And he'll be delighted with that as a team owner. But as the driver, I'm sure he'll be looking for ways to improve. Adam Woodward will come home in P5 as Gottman will finish in P4. Great drive from Woodward for Bag Academy. And it will be Mario Hepner, in P6. Linda in 7. Shawan in 8th. Robbie Arthur will come home in 9th after that spin early on. Herter 11th, Herter 10th, K 11th, and K 11th. Robbie Arthur there coming to the line. And that was a decent drive for Robbie, despite the issues that he encountered. As I was saying, though, K 11th, Peters in 12th, as the last guys cross the line now. Unfortunately, of course, we did lose Leon Du, Harding, Bernabe, Sheikh, and Kilgore Trout from the race. But it is Oliver Gibson who takes the win. And we'll take the spoils as well. And Oliver Gibson, well, what a great performance he's had here tonight. Was gifted the race lead and then has just kept it fantastically. Hit his marks, pulled away from Merrick behind. A very, very nice performance. I'd love to hopefully speak with him as well. Of course, we are... Oh, well, we'll speak to Jace Merritt first, I suppose. Yeah, great job there for Oliver Gibson. let's speak to the man on pole and coming home in P2, Jace Merrick. Jace, a small mistake cost you the win out there today, but it was still a very, very strong drive nonetheless. But you
Oh
must be
no,
feeling
it wasn't
a
a
bit...
small mistake. It wasn't a small mistake that cost me the win. Ali Gokman needs to get the hell out of the way. He blocked me in
Oh, there's
qualifying, and he
contact.
blocked me in the race. Yes, going in.
We didn't see.
Yeah.
I just saw you going round in the aftermath. There was contact, was there?
No, there was no contact, but he needs to recognize that he's going 1 second slower than the top 3 guys going for the championship, and that he needs to get the fuck out of the way.
Well, drama here. I thought there'd been a mistake. Apologies. We just caught the end of the instance. You were rejoining the circuit.
And on top of my screen freezing again twice this time, like I feel like I should just get used to being screwed over by stuff that I can't control at this point, right? Like this is just how it is, I guess.
Well, it sounds like it hasn't exactly been your night then, Chase. But
Yeah,
nonetheless, you still got pole position and a P2, so it's not all bad at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, it's still Ollie extends his lead by what 6 points because I got fastest lap.
Yeah.
So I'm not happy. Like the only way Ali can apologize to me now is if he wrecks Ollie out of Baku. Like that's the only way. But yeah.
Well,
So,
that's fair
and
enough.
on- And on top of that, Nova's just falling apart. I'm the only Nova entry today, and it looks like maybe not even Master Split's gonna run. Hang on.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see what's going on with But I'm still not sure myself. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
even though it's not been the most ideal night for you, you're still coming away, still fighting with a decent result. So probably a bit of a bittersweet night for you. But thanks for joining us, Jace, out there. Unfortunate, your race ended in such circumstances, but still P2, so you're still in this fight.
I had the car to win. I swear to God, I had the car to win, and it's just people don't know how to race. Like that's plain and simple. That's my take on it. Anyways, I will thank you for having me. I'll see you at Baku. Hopefully, I'll have something positive to say there.
Well, thanks for joining us, Jay. Oh, he's already gone. Fair enough. Thanks for joining us, Jace. Apologies if you for any colourful language you may have heard there. We're going to speak to our race. You know what? We'll drag both of them. We'll drag the Lioneers boys in after another fantastic performance from this team. But we'll speak to our race winner first. Oliver Gibson, your second win this season. You must be feeling pretty happy with that one.
I mean, I didn't expect it because obviously, Jace was very quick today. I don't know what happened. I haven't seen it, but it's an incident, I assume. And it allowed us to pit, and yeah, we won it. So, and we got a third, so it's good points again for the constructors. But I'm very happy with it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. And well, Case, you came home in P3 as well, and a win for the team, further increasing your lead in the constructors' championships. You're well on your way as a team, surely.
Absolutely, I'm really happy with the results. Obviously, this was one of Oliver Gibson's favorite tracks, so I knew he was likely going to do very good here. Didn't expect to win, but that's obviously always nice. P3 for me, very happy to be back on the podium again. It's always nice, Yeah, the race for me went pretty decent, though I find my pace quite varying during the laps. Like one lap would be quite fast, quite so it was quite varying between the laps. But yeah, Jace was absolutely flying on those, especially on those C4 tires. We thought he would drop off very quickly, but like we noticed in Mugello, he can keep that pace on those tires for quite a long time, or at least longer than we would expect him to be. So that's quite impressive for him. P2 for him still, despite the spin. That's quite nice. So yeah, some great points from the team. I'm really happy.
Yeah, indeed, and looking forward as well. I mean, Ollie, that's 2 wins out of 4 from you. So you're now got it's not exactly a healthy lead over Jace. It's a lead. It's not much, but it's you're looking just to continue and extend that.
Yeah, obviously. Just trying to get the best results we can. It's also good for if it's this close, it's also good for the league. With the excitement of today and Mugello and Bahrain, Melbourne, all of it. But yeah, hopefully I like Baku as well, and obviously Silverstone after that home race, so should be fun.
Well, it will indeed, and well, Case as well. I assume you'll be wanting to work your way onto that that leader's winning sheet at some point. You'll want to be picking up a win.
Well, absolutely. Of course, I'm hoping to get a win. With my Monster race. Unfortunately, we don't have Monster this season. I would have won that, but yeah, I'm hoping to get a win as well. These next few races, Baku, Silverstone are going to be really exciting. Some of my favorite tracks. Maybe something special for Silverstone. Who knows?
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Thanks you two for joining us. Great result out there for the team and for you guys as well. Awesome stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for commentating. We miss you, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was away. I don't even know what I was doing. I was doing something at Mugello. But thanks for joining us anyway, guys. That was Oliver Gibson and Case Willems, the guys over at Lioneers, taking P1 and P3 in that race respectively. And that just about wraps it up here for the Challenger split. So thanks to Alex, of course, for coming along and commentating and streaming. It's always appreciated.
Yep, no problem. Glad to be here.
Oh, great to hear that. Well, make sure you stick around. I'm not too sure what's going on yet with regards to the Master Split, but I'll let you know hopefully as soon as possible if we're going to be racing, if it's championship or not, and we'll just find out. So stick around. Hopefully there's a race. If there isn't, well, goodbye. If there is, hang on for the time being.